What's going on, everyone? This is Eric with Sweet Spot DFS, going over a DraftKings first look for the 2026 US Open. Now, I like to do these videos to kick off the content that I'll be providing for the US Open. I'll be having videos almost every single day, so go check them out. I like to try to give a gut reaction to the salaries that are provided to us by DraftKings. I also like to provide you guys as many opportunities to get in the giveaways that I run for the week. And just to post those really quickly, the first one is a Win the Pot giveaway. It starts at $20, and for every one new subscriber, I will add $2 to the pot. I have gold stamped it all the way over there to the left. 954 is what it started at. This channel currently has 957 subscribers on it since I started this giveaway. So that means 3 new subscribers times $2 is $6. $6 is getting added to that 20. The pot is currently at $26, but you all can help it grow even more by subscribing to the channel. And if you want to enter into this giveaway, you need to comment down below. Comment in the comment section of any of the US Open videos you see coming out this week prior to the US Open. Comment on all of the US Open content that I have. You will get 1 free entry per video that you comment on. And it only takes 1. You only need 1 entry to win. A lot of people who come to this channel watch it, they know it just takes 1. It takes 1 entry. So hopefully we can grow this pot to a pretty big number. PGA Championship didn't have as many as the Masters, but the Masters got like 25 new subscribers to the channel, and this pot got up to somewhere around $70 some. It was a little bit north of 70, so it was like 27 new subscribers. So hopefully you guys can help me out in growing this channel just a little bit more. Another giveaway that kind of coincides with this is the $1,000 sweetspotdfs.com giveaway that I'm running. If you're unfamiliar with this one, all you need to do is go to sweetspotdfs.com, create yourself a free account. That is how you get an entry into that giveaway. And then whenever this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, I will run that giveaway. I will pull the distribution list that I have on the website, pull 4 random winners for a lifetime membership worth $600, an annual membership worth $200, and then 2 $100 cash giveaways. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. I've kind of said it before in other videos. If this channel can get to 1,000 subscribers before the US Open kicks off, before Thursday of US Open week, I will add another $100 cash giveaway. So it'll be up to 3, but only if we reach 1,000 subscribers before the beginning of the US Open. Again, that'll be that Thursday, the 18th, I think, June 18th. So it's up to you guys. Up to you guys. If you can grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers by that time, not only will the Win the Pot giveaway be large, but so too will we'll add more money to this giveaway. And of course, if you didn't already know, I do weekly and monthly giveaways. We just ran the monthly giveaway last week, but for every entry that gets put into any of these giveaways from last week, this week, next week, they all go towards the monthly giveaway as well. And it's a membership to sweetspotdfs.com. Weekly ones are $5 cash. So those are all the giveaways that I am running currently. Now let's go ahead. Let's get ourselves into this DraftKings first look. And it's going to start with Scotty Scheffler at $14,900. If you've been to this channel before, or if it's your first time, welcome on in. This whole year has been a conversation of, is Scotty at $14,000 too much? And for the longest time, it was just conversation until we did some deep dive data analysis. When Scotty is over $14,000, he is not worth the price tag. But that is only when there is not a 5K range. which if we scroll down, you will see there is a 5K range, which if you've been here before, you know I hate the 5K range. I think it's the worst thing that DraftKings has ever created. I think it's terrible. Listen, sure, we have casuals that come in and then they get to play all their favorite golfers and sprinkle in some 5Ks. I just think it's stupid. I think it's dumb. We can still build the kind of the same lineups with, if we want to go with Scotty, we can go with Scotty. However, it's like, right, my personal opinion, what difference does it make if he's $14,200 with a 6K range or if he's $14,900 with a 5K range? I just don't think it makes any difference. Now, going back to the whole conversation of, does he pay off his price tag? Well, at sweetspotdfs.com, there's a link for this, by the way, in the description. I've got some tools here that you can look at. This is one of my favorite ones to kind of deep dive winning lineups or successful lineups that have happened at the US Open, or not so much the US Open, any golf tournament. But if we go ahead and type in the US Open for the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups, and we look at last year's GPP winner, you're going to find that Scotty Scheffler was in that lineup at $14,400. Now he's $500 more expensive. I don't think it matters that much, honestly. The only way a Scotty Scheffler is going to pay off his price tag is if you have a JJ Spawn at $6,700 win the tournament. Or let's say if Scotty wins the tournament, you need to have a few golfers in the 6K range or even the 5K range performing well enough, finishing inside the top 10 or even the top 5. It's the only way that's going to happen. So that requires quality golfers in, again, the 6 or the 5K range. I think that's where we start. I've done this before where I kind of just go top of the DraftKings leaderboard when it comes to salaries and then work my way down to the 5K range. But let's just look at the 5K range right now, because this is always the conversation we have. Do we play Scotty Scheffler or do we not? When you click his name, the average salary that's remaining for your 5 spots, your final 5 spots, the last 5 spots, is $7,000. It's a little north of that, but let's just say it's $7,000. So let's scroll down to that 5K range. I'm going to start at $5,900. Andrew Putnam, sure. I don't hate this golf course for Andrew Putnam. So there's one. I'm going to go ahead and click his name. Is this Michael Jordan? Matthew Jordan. I got excited there. Matthew Jordan. Not a bad player. Honestly, not a bad player. Probably not. Nico Echeverria, probably not. Maybe a little too volatile. However, hey, you could go, you could play worse golfers. Patrick Rogers, probably not. Billy Horschel, I think he had a decent showing here at Shinnecock. What was it? When Brooks won in 2018 or 2017, 2016, somewhere back then. Billy's much older now. I'm not saying Billy's a bad play, but that's also a stretch. Caleb Surratt, no thank you. Max McGreevy, maybe. Emiliano Grillo, sure. I'll go ahead and put his name in. That's fine. Laurie Cantor, I don't think so. John Perry, depends on what he does at... He's currently playing the Canadian Open. I want to see what he does at the Canadian Open. He had a pretty strong start to his season. I mean, he wasn't missing any cuts. His first missed cut was the Charles Schwab Challenge not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. John Perry is okay. Don't mind it. Peter Uihlein, he qualified himself into the U.S. Open. I have no idea what to expect from Peter Uihlein. If you remember, he went to LIV. And then he got suspended on the PGA Tour, and now you just don't ever really see him. I think he's playing Korn Ferry, I would imagine. I'm not positive on that. I don't know. Is this Nathan Kimsey? Yeah, Nathan Kimsey. I don't think so. Ben Coles, I don't think so. Adrian Dumont DeChessar, I don't think so. Kevin Roy, I don't think so. Nicholas Norgard Moeller is actually an interesting choice. I don't know why they don't have more of his finishes. I'm pretty sure he's played on the PGA Tour this year so far. Yeah, I don't know what DraftKings is doing. Sure. He's okay, but I don't know. I'm really not getting there. Ben James, no. Brad McDowell, no. William Mao, maybe. Chandler Phillips, no. Jackson Suber, sure. I kind of want to see what he does at the Canadian Open, but he's kind of like his last 3 performances. Charles Schwab, not so much, but he did have a round 475, which kind of made his finish look bad. But yeah, Jackson Suber is a quality golfer, so let's go ahead and put his name down as well. Cole Hammer, nope. Ben Silverman, nope. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Ugo Coussard, no thank you. Nick Hardy, no thank you. Podrick Harrington, nope. Taylor Montgomery, nope. Jimmy Stanger, maybe. And then we get into a bunch of 5K golfers that qualified through the US Open qualifiers that we probably don't really know that much of. There's 18 golfers I had to add to my database. That tells me 18 qualifiers that probably don't care to play, if we're going to be honest. So I'm going to skip through all of those. Carl Yuan is interesting. Toasty is interesting. This Harrington, Jackson, right? Yeah, Jackson Harrington played in the Masters. The guy mashes the golf ball, but that doesn't really matter that much here at the US Open. If Shinnecock is going to play anything like it did, again, I don't remember the year, somewhere between 2016 to 2018. If it's going to play anything like that, you really don't need distance that much. You need complete control over your golf balls, which you need. That's going to be the primary thing. You're going to need complete control over your golf ball. So yeah, I'm not, that's it. I don't have any other golfers that I really see worth talking about. I really don't care. So I have 3 in the 5K range that I think are decent plays. Andrew Putnam, Grillo, and Suber. Those are the only 3 5K golfers that I think you should kind of consider playing. Moving to the 6K range, we have Chris Kirk, not a terrible player. Matty Schmid, sure. Jaden Shaper, probably not. Matt McCarty, probably not. Michael Brennan, probably not. Like, Michael Brennan is a bomber. Pearson Coody is sort of a bomber. He's more of a power guy than he is an accuracy guy. One of these guys, I feel like, I mean, shoot, one of these guys from $6,100 to $6,000, and maybe even like to the other 3 5K golfers I talked about, I think one of them is going to finish inside the top 10. Because there are good names here. And this is the whole conversation. Who are going to be our JJ Spahns, Bobby Max, and Adam Scotts? These 3 6K golfers. Who are those guys going to be this year if we are going to play a Scotty Scheffler lineup? Just from name value alone, let's think of something here. Adam Scott was a PGA Tour winner before this tournament. Bobby Mack was a PGA Tour winner before this tournament. JJ Spahn was a PGA Tour winner before this tournament. And this is the 2025 US Open, by the way. So too was Burns. So too was Hovland. Obviously, Scheffler was as well. So then if we go back here, are any of these guys past PGA Tour winners? Chris Kirk is. Andrew Putnam is. Matty Schmid is not. Jaden Shaper is not. Matt McCarty is. So maybe we go with Matt McCarty. Michael Brennan is as well. Pearson Coody is not. Yellow Miraju is not. Kiefer is not. Grazerman is not. Hisatsune is not. Andrew Novak is. Andrew Novak is a winner. I'm trying to remember what tournament did Matt McCarty win. I don't quite remember off the top of my head. I almost feel like I'm making that up, but I'm pretty sure he's won. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he hasn't. And I'm just lying to you guys. I don't remember off the top of my head. And I don't have any of my pages open on my website to look at it. So maybe pump your brakes on that. I could be wrong. Michael Kim is a PGA Tour winner. So we have a handful of golfers. Well, not even so much a handful. What were they? Kirk? Brennan, maybe Matt McCarty. Okay. I'm going to open up a page while we're talking about this. Do not mind me. Shaper is not, Cootie is not, Yellow Mirage is not, Kiefer's not, Grazerman is not, Hisatsune is not, Novak is, Michael Kim is. So those are 5-6K golfers right there. Low 6,100 and less to be exact. And I'm not saying that's a prerequisite. You know, it's just something that I noticed from last year. And I think, listen, if we can find a good value golfer down here that has proven to be a PGA Tour winner, why not play him? Like a Brian Harmon. Like Sam Stevens has not won on the PGA Tour, but Harmon has. So too has Davis Thompson. Harry Hall also has. That would be the ISCO championship, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if alternate events really qualify, but sure, we can throw him down. Keith Mitchell has. So too has Tom Kim. These are all past PGA Tour winners. So now we have 10 golfers that qualify for past PGA Tour wins. And maybe I should just stop talking about that. But those are quality guys. Lucas Herbert, by the way, guy who went to live and then got kicked out. He's in the US Open. I don't even know if that's even worth touching, though. I like golfers that have played on the PGA Tour for the entire season. They're better golfers than anywhere else. Jackson Koivin is interesting. Dustin Johnson, I listen, I don't mind Dustin Johnson at $6,300. I like Nick Taylor. Ryan Fox is okay. Ortiz is okay. Thigala's okay. Maybe Thigala will win the Canadian Open. Round 1 has concluded and he is tied for the lead, but who knows? Alex Noren is not a PGA Tour winner, believe it or not. He has not yet won on tour, but he is a good player. And US Open kind of fits his game. Sung J M. Listen, he's had some streaky finishes, some volatility where he went, 5th place. We thought Sung Jae was back. And for the PGA Championship, he was a good price. $7,200, misses the cut. Then follows it up with the T9. It's like, oh, he's back. Then he goes and plays a Charles Schwab for that field. It was not a strong field, $8,300, and then misses the cut. And it was terrible. Like he shot a 76 in round 2. He looked awful, really, really, really bad. So I don't know what to do with that. And then I think we kind of get in the meat and the potatoes here with golfers that I think would be good pair ups for a Scotty Scheffler lineup, like say Keegan Bradley, Danny Berger. Shoot, we could even go back to Adam Scott. Adam Scott's game is really good for the US Open. Very good for the US Open. David Puig or Puig, I do not care of Puig. People are going to be there's going to be very I don't know what you'd call them, but they're going to be David Puig or Puig backers. I don't care. Not for me. Jacob Bridgman has kind of fallen off of a cliff. He played really, really well to start out his season. 4th, 13th, 18th, 8th, 1st, 18th, 5th. And then 14th also at Valspar. And then the Masters happened, and he hasn't been the same golfer ever since. If you guys have faith that he can turn around and he's a good player, yeah, $6,500 is a pretty good price tag for him. Kurt Kitayama, sure, sign me up. I don't mind Kurt Kitayama. He's got a good game. Corey Connors has been struggling as of late, so maybe not. Alex Fitzpatrick seems like a pretty decent play. Ryan Gerard has been on fire the last couple weeks. If you take a look at his game log, just finished 2nd Memorial. He had a 10th place finish the week before that. So maybe he's trending towards a decent play. Woodland is a decent play. Batia is a decent play. Ricky Fowler just had, I think, probably his worst finish of his career in a long time. Shot a 79 in round 1 and then an 82 in round 2. That tells me there's something going on. There's something like a swing change, a club change. Maybe there's something in his life that's happening. It's a lot to be worried about with Ricky Fowler. I don't know. I have not done the research to figure out what's wrong with Ricky Fowler because, quite frankly, I don't think Ricky Fowler is going to be your make or break golfer in your lineup, honestly. Jason Day, sure. Harris English. I actually like Harris English. And I bet you if we talk to our good friend Byron Lindeque at the Model Maniac or Back Nine Bets on YouTube, he's going to tell us that Harris English, pretty darn good in the majors. PGA Championship finished 18th. He's like a top 20 machine when it comes to the majors. Maybe not so much the Masters, but yeah, Harris English seems like a good play. And these 4 golfers right here, if we look at that pass op, and I know that this is very, very narrow, very granular or specific when it comes to what kind of lineup we're looking at. But yeah, dude, $6,700 or yeah, $6,700 JJ Spawn, $6,700 Bobby Mack, $6,600 Adam Scott. Those 3 guys look a lot like a Bradley or a Berger. Well, there's Adam Scott again, or a Harris English. It's kind of the same names. Kind of the same names. And we can skip out of one of these golfers. Let's get out. Let's take out Danny Berger, and I kind of want to build this lineup sort of similar to what we saw here. We need like a low 7K and then someone in the 8K range. Let's continue actually with these names first before we really get into building that lineup. Nikolai Højgaard, interesting name. I wouldn't mind playing him. Alex Smalley's been kind of on a heater. I don't have an issue playing Alex Smalley. He is not a PGA Tour winner as of yet. Maverick McNeely is. Now, Mav McNeely's good with his putter. He, I just don't really think. Well, now that I see his results, and they look really good. Maybe not so much these signature events, but that's okay. Signature events, you can kind of screw around. 18th place finish at the PGA, 10th place finish at Memorial. That looks pretty good. So McNeely is going to be a golfer that I'm also going to consider. Jake Knapp has been battling injuries. I imagine he's going to be healthy, but it's going to be his first event back from being injured. Tread carefully. Aaron Rai, that seems like a good play right here. And if we look back at this lineup that I was just we were looking at, we have a 67, a 67, and a 66. This $7,100 golfer might as well be another 6K golfer. We could certainly make it another 6K golfer. By the way, you can toggle between different lineups to see who the other golfers were. And lo and behold, there's another 6K golfer that, let's see, he scored 70.5 points. This is the optimal lineup, by the way. 70.5 points. That outscores Adam Scott by 14. So you could have another 6K golfer in this lineup right here. You could replace Sam Burns. That's who we would really want to replace if we're comparing apples to apples. So $7,100 at 67.5 points, or Carlos Ortiz at $6,400 that scored 70.5. So he scores 3 more points and he's like $700 cheaper. That's $700 cheaper. Look, you just add that to Scottie Scheffler's salary here. That's $15,100. Well, he's $14,900. It's pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. So we could get 4 6Ks and then add an 8K golfer to it. That would work, especially with how salaries are this week. So yeah, I actually don't even mind that lineup. Having Aaron Ryan there. Cam Smith is intriguing, and Christopher Wrighton's intriguing as well. I just, I think it's Christopher Wrighton's first time playing a U.S. Open. He's a power guy. I'm not going to trust it that much. Cam Smith is not accurate enough for me to want to play Cam Smith. Minwoo Lee maybe is an interesting choice. We have Sepp Straka, McIntyre, Griffin, all at the 7K range. And I actually don't mind that. If you wanted to play any of those guys with Scheffler, I mean, shoot, let's go ahead and put in Jordan Spieth. And now we have a very similar lineup to what we saw last year. And again, it's okay. I understand we don't have to completely copy last year's tournament because things are different. Things will change. But it's just to give you an idea of what you can do with lineup building. So Victor Hovland, $8,500. Like, I've got my $7,100 golfer in here in Jordan Spieth. You might like him. You might not like him. Maybe you switch him out with any of these other golfers. I mean, there's Siwoo Kim at $7,200. Maybe you do that instead. But now I have access up to $8,300. And shoot, there's Victor Hovland right there. I can almost create the exact same lineup as last year's U.S. Open minus JJ Spawn. We're trying to find the new JJ Spawn, whoever that might be. Maybe it's Harris English. Maybe Harris English finally wins one of these U.S. Opens. So maybe that's the guy. And I have a very similar lineup than what I had last year. And it isn't bad. It's not bad. I think that's probably as far as I'm going to talk about Scottie Scheffler and the different types of lineups that you can build with Scottie Scheffler, just in the fairness of time. But here's one thing I want to note. I do this every single time there's a 5K range. I have a cheat sheet that I give access to everybody. It's free. It's free. If you go to sweetspotdfs.com, there's a link in the description down below. Go click that. Not only should you go create yourself a free account to get entered into the giveaway, but this cheat sheet under Fantasy Tools is absolutely free. Absolutely free. Not only do you get access to the reports page that I have for the cheat sheet, and not only does it have the US Open in there already, you can do all your research right away. Scroll down to this cheat sheet and click here. When you click here, a new sheet will open up. This has the Canadian Open on it right now, but on the bottom, there's a tab called price conversion. And if you drill on that price conversion, you can see this looks exactly like this one. I just zoomed in a little bit, and actually let me zoom in a little bit more. But yeah, it's the same sheet. I'm going to close this one. Now, the whole purpose of this, normally on this channel, I talk about salary construction, how you should start your lineups, and most of the time start them with a 10-9-8, 7-7-6 lineup build. It's the most common lineup build. And let me show you this too. I mean, I will be showing you this in a different video. I always create a pass optimal and GPP winning lineups video, but just to show you the most common lineup build, it'll show once it loads. It's right here. It's 10-9-8, 7-7-6, nearly 13% of successful lineups. And I keep track of 3 different lineups: the GPP winning lineup, the optimal lineup, and the sweet spot optimal. The sweet spot optimal is always $49,600 of the salary and above. I do not like to leave a lot of money on the table. So I find the best lineup that leaves $400 or less. And 99% of the time, it beats the GPP winner. Sometimes the GPP winner is the optimal lineup, believe it or not. So that's the only time it doesn't beat the GPP winner. But yeah, those are the 3 lineups that I keep track of. And those 3 lineups, the most successful or the most common lineup build that you see is 10-9-8, 7-7-6, followed by 10-9-8, 7-6-6, followed by 10-8-8, 7-7-6, then 10-9, 3 7s and a 6, 10-9-8, 3 7s. You get the same thing: 10-9-8, 10-9-8, 10-9-8, 7-7, 7-7-7, 7-7-6, 7-7-6-6, or whatever. You get a lot of the same things. So how do we do that with the 5K range? Because you didn't say there's a 10-9-8, 7-7-5 or a 10-9-8, 7-6-5. How do we go about doing that? This is the thing that I hate the most about DraftKings when it comes to these 5K ranges, is this type of analysis gets broken whenever there's a 5K range, unless you convert it like I do. Now, I'm converting, when you got Scottie Scheffler that's priced this much, and then you got a 5K range that's down here, I convert those prices to smush them closer to where they normally are. So Scottie Scheffler gets a bit of a discount. Some of these other high-priced golfers get a bit of a discount, and it's just basically taking money off of their salary to try to get the average salary to be $7,000. So if I scroll down, you're going to see the $5,000 golfers here. I move them up to $6,000. I move the floor up to $6,000. And then I just make all of the appropriate conversions from there. So 5,400 equals 6,400, 55 equals 65. Come up here, 6,200 is kind of the cutoff to, or I should say 6,300 is the cutoff to the 7K range. So anything under 6,300 is just going to be in the 6K range. And you can see some of these prices aren't that far off. Some of them are within 600, 500, 400. It's just, that's kind of how the conversions go and how they work. You can see the 8K range here includes a $7,500 golfer to an $8,400 golfer. So if we were to build a 10.98.776, it would look a lot like this. You know, maybe we don't start with Scotty. I don't think you can really build a 10.98.776 with Scotty. You never really have this entire year, and I'm not even recommending that. But the other golfers that are below you certainly could. So if you wanted to say start your lineup out with Rory, I'm going to use the adjusted salaries here. So we go 11,800. Then we can come down here to Colin Morikawa. Actually, I'm gonna have to copy it this way. So 12,200. We can come down here. Maybe we like Colin Morikawa more than we like anybody else. So then he's technically a 9K golfer because he is, what is this? The 11th golfer? Sorry, 12th golfer. He's the 12th golfer on the salary leaderboard. That typically is in the 9K range. The 12th most expensive golfer is usually a 9K golfer. Sometimes it could be 10 or 11 that's 9K and above, but for the sake of argument and for this exercise here, he is a 9K golfer. So we go Rory 12,200 to Colin Morikawa at 8,500. I can come down here to Sam Burns at 7,700. He's an 8K golfer. So now I have my 10, I have my 9, and I have my 8. So those are 3 golfers that totals up so far to 28,400. Then I can come down here and we can kind of talk about, or we can pick some of those golfers that we were already looking at. I'm trying to find, well, there's Adam Scott at 6,600 and Harris English at 67. Guess what? I have $8,300 to work with. And these are only 7K golfers. So not only that, so we could make some upgrades. We could go from Morikawa, say, to maybe Brooks, or maybe, how about this? Let's go Fleetwood. We'll go to Fleetwood. So now I actually have 42,900, meaning I need a $7,100 golfer. So I could come up to Bobby Mack. This is $49,900 using of the salary. And it's just that price conversion, 10.98.776. It doesn't look like a 10.98.776. In fact, I've done this before. Let's go Rory at 12.2, Xander at 10.1. And yeah, we can drop down to this 7K range, or well, $7,700 golfer that is technically an 8K golfer. And then let's get rid of Adam Scott because we're over the price tag. I need to find someone $6,300 or less. Well, I can drop down to here and say, let's go with Keith Mitchell. There we go. This lineup here is 49,900. And this is the high 6K range. This is tier 5. This is the higher 6K range. The lower 6K range is tier 6. Or yeah, well, converted 6K range. It's 5K, obviously. So now my lineup is a $12,200 Rory, $10,100 Xander, $7,700 Burns, $7,000 McIntyre, $67 Harris English, $62 Keith Mitchell. That, to the untrained eye, looks like a 10-10, 7-7, 6-6 lineup. But as the prices are converted, it's 10.98.776. And I would feel absolutely comfortable building a lineup like this. And if you are like, oh my God, dude, that's so confusing, I don't care. Well, I have an optimizer that will already have this baked in. It will include the 5K range. It will include all those conversions. And so you won't even have to look at that. You can just put in the conversion, or you can put into the conditionals of the optimizer. I want one 10K, I want one 9K, I want one 8, one 7, or 2 7s, and a 6. You could literally code it to do that on your end, and it will spit you out a ton of different lineups that are 10.98.776 following this method. So you could either do it hand-wise, looking at this conversion, or you could use the optimizer to help you out. So That is my 2 cents on all of that. We just went with Scotty Scheffler, and then we looked at the 5K range, and then we looked at the 6K range. Now, we don't really have that many more golfers to talk about, really. We just have, when we don't play Scotty, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Rory McIlroy will always be a good play. You know, he will always be a good play. I don't know what his ownership's going to be. I feel like some people just don't like to play Rory when they haven't really seen him in the last couple weeks. Sure, he played Memorial and finishing 12th for his caliber, not good, not great, not that great. But he did finish 7th at the PGA and did win the Masters yet again. I don't know. I just don't see how Rory's ever a bad play. I have no idea what's going on with Rahm and Live Golf, nor do I really know what's going on with Bryson and Live Golf. I don't care. They're always going to be elite golfers. And when it comes to this game of daily fantasy sports, there has to be a level of uncertainty that comes with some of your picks. You can't just always pick the best golfers that you know all the data points that match up well for this tournament. It never works out that way. It never works out that way. You can't pick 6 of the same golfers. You're never going to win doing that. So maybe you start with Jon Rahm because he's a good golfer. He has proven it in his previous major championship starts. He had a 2nd at the PGA Championship and then a 38th at the Masters. 38th is not really that great, but a 2nd at the PGA is pretty good. Bryson, on the other hand, missed the cut at both of his last majors. Now, he has 2 U.S. Opens under his belt. Is that good enough for you to play him? Sure. Why not? Right? Why not? I will say this. I don't think Shinnecock is one of those bomb and gouge fests that is going to benefit Bryson. Again, don't know how the conditions are going to be, but if they're anything like 2016, 2017, 2018, whenever Shinnecock was used before, this would not be a good test for him. This is my 2 cents. I could be wrong, but I don't see it. Cam Young is intriguing. He is a Northeastern guy. He's a New York guy, and the Shinnecock is in New York, and he tends to play well in the region he's from. So I do not have an issue playing Cam Young this week, especially at 10,500. That is on the low end of the 10K range for me. When it comes to the price conversion, he is obviously on the low end of the 10K range regardless. But yeah, Cam Young seems pretty good. Xander Schauffele, I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. And what I mean by probably not, listen, I build 100 lineups usually every single week. If I'm building 100 lineups, Xander's going to be in probably 8 of them, and that's it. I don't see a reason to play him in more. Well, depending on the research I do, depending on what I listen to, what I find out with myself or find out on my own when it comes to analyzing data points and stuff like that, maybe I get to Xander a little bit more than 8%. But as of right now, I'm looking in that 8 to 12% exposure range. I really don't want to play Xander this week. Although it seems like a golf course that would be pretty decent for him, I still just don't want to. I can get behind Fleetwood. Yeah, he backdoored his way to a top 4 finish the last time they played at Shinnecock. He shot a 63, I think, that round 4 performance. He's still a good golfer. And if you got good vibes heading into Shinnecock, like, why wouldn't you play someone who has good vibes, good experiences, good history at that golf course? Why not? $9,700. That's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap, considering how soft the pricing is, right? Brooks Koepka, sign me up. I mean, yeah, some of these finishes don't look that great, but I think he's back. Like, his confidence is back. Let's put it that way. And when Brooks's confidence is high, his performances are good. I was going to say high, but that's not a That's not a proper term. I don't think. Is confidence high as performance is high? Yeah, that works. Confidence high, performance is high. Ludwig Oberg, yeah. I don't have an issue playing Ludwig. I'm not forcing Ludwig into my lineups. He's not one of my favorite plays, but he's a good player. Why wouldn't I put him? Out of 100 lineups, he's going to be somewhere between 12 to 16% exposure in my lineups. Matty Fitzpatrick, after winning the Heritage and the Valspar and the Zurich, yeah, he's got 3 wins, by the way. 3 wins this season. Hasn't really had a super good finish ever since, but he's at a discount at $8,900. The Masters, he was 87. But any time before that, he's been more expensive than he is right now. So yeah, sign me up, man. That seems like a really good discount. Tyrrell Hatton, again, don't really know what the heck's going on with him with Live Golf. I don't really care. Ty Hatton's a good player, but I'm most likely, exposure-wise for me, it's going to be somewhere between like 6 to 10%. I don't really care to play him that much. I want to see what Morikawa does at the Canadian Open before really committing to him. He withdrew from the Memorial because he was having a child. A lot of people were making it a big deal, like, oh, you withdrew from the Memorial before it started, before the tee times were locked. Actually, he didn't even show up on the premise. Like there was never ever a reason to think Colin was going to play. He'd already withdrew in plenty time before. He wasn't even a part of the DraftKings salaries. So, yeah, he had a child. So maybe he's got a little baby swag, Maybe there's something to go with that. I think it'd be fine to play him, honestly. I think it's fine. I don't know how much more time I want to spend on the rest of these golfers. Maybe I'll just kind of, lightning round everything here. Justin Rose, don't really care. Justin Thomas, don't really care either. There's something weird with Justin Thomas. Like, I almost, this is going to be crazy to say, he kind of has imposter syndrome. Yeah, he's won 2 major championships, 2 PGA championships, and he does have decent performances, but if you ever pay attention to Justin Thomas, when he tries to step on a driver, like he's trying to hit it really hard, it's always erratic. It's always offline. If Justin Thomas could just find let's just say 50% of his fairways, he's going to have a good performance because he's a really good iron player and his putter is a bit streaky, but for these major championships, I actually kind of trust him to putt better than his baseline. But the driver stuff, that scares me. I do not like, I really don't like his driver. He's terrible at driving the golf ball. Chris Gotterup, probably not. I don't know what it is. If we're on fast and firm conditions and it's not Open Championship or Genesis Scottish Open weather, I don't know if I care. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not sure if I care to play him. $8,200 is a bit of a discount than his $8,800 price tag at the PGA Championship. Maybe that's a reason to play him. We did stretch to get Hovland in that lineup that we created with Scotty. I actually don't mind going back to Hovland. He is currently leading, I think he's leading the Canadian Open. I think he's playing okay at the Canadian Open. We shall see. We shall see what ends up happening. But this seems disrespectful. Henley at $8,000. Yeah, this is actually a golf course I think is pretty good for Henley, especially where his game is currently. Sign me up. Patrick Reed. I'm never going to say no. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I'm not going to say that. Patrick Reed's a quality golfer. His short game is one of the best. One of the best. That alone will help him save pars, which is going to be very important to save pars around a U.S. Open. It's like, how many birdies is he going to get versus how many bogeys is he going to get? But I anticipate he's going to finish inside the top 20 at $7,900. I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Wyndham Clark's on a bit of a heater. He's got his confidence back. It's just like Brooks. If Wyndham's confidence is high, his performance is high. And yeah, I do not have an issue with Wyndham Clark. Go for it. Go for it. Put the pedal down to the metal. I think he's a great play. I will always like Sam Burns, and at $7,700, that seems pretty disrespectful. Sign me up for Sam Burns. Same goes with Hideki Matsuyama. I imagine Byron's going to talk about his strokes gained stats when it comes to the U.S. Open. It's like it's his tournament. It's of the majors, although he's won the Masters. I think he performs better at the U.S. Open. So yeah, I don't mind going to him. JJ Spawn, listen, if you've been here before, I'm not a huge fan of JJ Spawn. I just don't care to play him here. This is not the same U.S. Open that was played last year, so I don't anticipate he's gonna have much success this year. Joaquin Niemann, I think he just won not too long ago. Yeah, Live Korea did a backflip as his celebration. It's impressive, but you know, I don't know. Maybe this is a Niemann week. Maybe. Patrick Cantlay at $7,300 seems criminal. He was $7,900 to the Masters and finished 12th. That pays off your price tag, ladies and gentlemen. That pays off your price tag. 8th, 10th, 35th, 17th. Sure, I got no issue playing Patrick Cantlay. And if we were to compare like last year's U.S. Open GPP winning lineup, Cantlay fits that mold of past PGA winners that just have a solid all-around game. So sure, why not? I also like Siwoo Kim at 70. All of these guys right here, Siwoo, Shane Lowry, Spieth, Griffin, McIntyre, and Straka, these 7K golfers, they're all value plays. All value plays. They work in your Scotty Scheffler lineups. They work in all your other lineups. So if you like any of these guys, go for it. They're all great. They're all great. And that's going to conclude the first look. I pretty much went through all of them. All of the golfers, just in different orders. So if you need a topic for the giveaways that I'm providing, how about this? Are you playing Scotty Scheffler this week or not? If you are, just say, I'm playing Scotty. If you're not, say, I'm not playing Scotty. That could be your comment section, or that could be your comment down below. That'll get you an entry into this giveaway. And if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. You will add money to the pot. One new subscriber adds $2 to the pot. We started at 954 subscribers. We're currently at 957 as of me recording this video. Hopefully you guys can add a little bit more to it. So the pot's at $26 currently. Let's continue to grow it. Just requires you guys a little participation, a little subscriber count, all that good stuff. And yeah, there are other giveaways. Go check the beginning of this video. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. We'll keep this short and to a minimum. So with that being said, that is all that I have for you guys. So thank you all for watching. Check in with all the other content I'll be creating this week and get all your entries in that way. And join me live Tuesday, June 16th at 8 p.m. All right, bye.